known as. Otherwise, they send the boys around to come around and break your legs or whatever. So it's a protection racket, exactly the same as Al Capone used to run in Chicago, exactly the same model. And of course, it's the jizya protection money that runs the system, because all of the work was done by the unbelievers, while the Muslims just ran the army, the police force, the administration, etc. And that was portrayed as being advantage. Oh, look, you unbelievers, you don't have to join the army. You don't have to put your life on the line, to save your region, because that's all done by Muslims. Aren't we paternalistic? No, that was not the reason. The reason was they didn't want any unbelievers being armed. And so they couldn't join the army where they would be armed and they might have an uprising. So that's why unbelievers were not allowed to join the army. So what else did they have to do? Well, they couldn't build or repair any churches, not ring any bells. We've said that one. You had to open the gates of a city to a Muslim. You could not, shut them out. You had to give board and lodgings to any Muslim that arrived at your house for 3 days. No unbeliever could teach a Muslim. They could not have any positions in governance, of course, because the administration was run by Muslims. They didn't want unbelievers there. The only caveat to that is during the Ottoman Empire, they didn't trust their own people to run the top administration, and so they had the Janissaries, which was normally castrated Christian lads that had been taken from the Balkans and brought up within Islam to be independent, because nobody within the Ottoman administration trusted their own people.
And that was a practice in a lot of these caliphates and whatnot, and under Islam was this castration thing. I mean, a lot of them would have died
Yes.
in the process, but if you lived, you were like a eunuch slave, and that was a major part of the thing. And I find it interesting that right as we have this mass immigration or invasion of Islam through the West, we're also dealing with this whole trans ideology from the radical leftists, right? Which is basically, a different way of achieving the same thing. It's just an interesting, I don't know. I just feel like is there a coincidence there?
I know they did this all the time, because slavery was the whole system ran on slavery. Most of these slaves coming from East Africa. They don't mention this, of course, in America when they're talking about slavery and reparations, but the biggest slavers in the region, of course, were the Muslims, who used to take blacks from East Africa, and they used to take blonde Europeans from Europe via North Africa, which were then fed into the slave markets in the East. And more than 1 million blonde Europeans were taken into slavery by Africans and then sold on to the Arab slave markets. This was known as the Barbary slave trade by the Barbary pirates. And it went on for about, I don't know, 150 years or so before it was finally squashed, mostly by the Americans, actually. It was the first war that the new America got involved in, was the war against the Barbary pirates. But these slaves, when they were sold on to the Eastern slave markets, again, yes, they were normally castrated. That's why you don't see lots and lots of black people in Arabia, because all of the slaves that went there were castrated. So that was very common. Yes. Um,
It's funny how we're never
just
taught about that history. Hey, like we're only taught, well, maybe the
yeah,
Western slave trade,
we are
American
the
slave
only
trade.
slavers. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The only ones. Even though it's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
no, no, no. We actually were the only ones to fight the wars necessary to try to stop
To
slavery, right?
end
Like
it.
that.
Yes.
It's so backwards.
Yeah. The Arab slave trade was much larger than the American slave trade, and it went on for a lot longer. Of course, it went on for hundreds of years. Probably went on for 1,000 years, actually, because that's how long Islam has been around.
The
So
only
just
reason
to
I bring it
carry
up,
on.
sorry to jump in again, but the only reason I bring it up is because I was watching a video of a young Arab man in Britain right after this stabbing that took place, and everybody's going on online about it. And he's sitting there going, look at what, you guys are all, Britain went and created a big empire and conquered all these countries and created slavery, and now you're mad when we're coming back and doing it to you. And I'm sitting there going, that's not how the history went down. And even if you were to use that argument, we're talking hundreds of years difference. So obviously there's that problem, but the facts don't really line up with that anyways. And it's just interesting that these young men are being conditioned over there to believe this and then
Oh yes.
coming here and acting accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so badly taught at present. It's untrue. All these, and they believe it as well because Muslims believe what they're taught by their Muslim um, uh, tutors and influencers, and most of what they say is actually nonsense. Of course, um, Islam has a habit of living behind lies. It's part of Muslim society. They have this. Um, they have what they call taqiyya, which is lying to the unbelievers to defend Islam. But of course, you can expand taqiyya to lie about anything if it helps the cause of Islam. And so, of course, they will say exactly as you've said just there, because saying that, even if it is a lie, and they know it is a lie, it will help the cause of Islam. And so that's what they do. They live behind lies. Um, so yeah, some of the rest of the covenant of dimitude, which all unbelievers had to live under uh, when um, when you have a Muslim administration, is you've got to show respect. And you will see this if you look at some of the videos that are going on in Europe at present. You will see this happening in Europe right now. You must show respect to all Muslims as an unbeliever. You must give up your seat to a Muslim. And there's a famous video online of a Muslim demanding that a granny gets out of her seat on a bus so he can sit on the seat. Well, he's doing that because it's part of the covenant of dimitude.
And of
Not to
course,
wear the
was there any men in the bus that threw the guy out of the bus as a result? Probably
No,
not.
not on that one, because of course, many people, well, you know what's going to happen. Either it's going to get violent and people don't want to be involved in a violent incident, or the police will come on and they'll arrest you for Islamophobia.
Right. That's yeah. Yeah.
You
They're
know
scared from
what's
both
going to happen.
sides.
Yeah.
Scared from both sides. Yeah.
So a
It's
lot
so
of
sad.
people, of course, turn the other way. They don't want to get involved. Like that man in America, I think it was in New York, wasn't he? And there was I think it was just a black man who was slightly deranged and was making a real scene on a tube train. And so he subdued the man by holding him. And unfortunately, the guy died because, sometimes that happens if you're restraining someone.
Yeah.
And so what happens? He gets charged with murder. So you are putting your life on the line a little bit if you intervene in some of these. Uh, Either you can get stabbed because a lot of these people carry knives around, or the justice system will actually come for you and charge you with something. We've had this time and time again in the UK. Even your listeners will know, even people just writing things um, as Twixes, I call them online, a tweet that might be a little bit ill judged or whatever, but nevertheless, it doesn't really warrant a police coming to your door. But we have at present, um, it's something like 30,000 police visits for people posting things on social media.
That's insane. That's insane.
30,000 per annum. So this is going on time and
Wow.
time again. The police are calling in at people, and it's called a non-crime hate incident. So it's not even criminal, yet the police will turn up at your house at, like, 10 o'clock at night or something, or 6 o'clock in the morning, to say, that tweet you sent,